It's that time of year again, fire season. And while some fire is bad, some fire is good and can be helpful to the land. Grass fires are used to clean areas for crops and also get rid of underbrush and things that could cause a more catastrophic fire later in the year when things are drier. This is kind of our journey over the last few years. We had a fire breakout close to our property several years ago, and I started looking at fire preparedness. In this case, we had a fire breakout just a couple miles from us with winds pushing it our direction. So we decided to go ahead and cut a fire break around our property. Some days you get really good fire crews out with aerial support. Other days they can come out, but they can't fly due to high winds or poor visibility. So we started building a fire skid once we had gotten our property cleaned up and things limbed up. So every spring we start by putting this in the truck, and it started out pretty inexpensively with just an IBC tote, which you'll see here in a moment, and a pump. And the IBC tote would slide in the back of the truck, the pump would hook up to it, sit in the back of the truck, and we'd hook up hoses as we needed to.
Well, as you can see, we're having a not so fun day.
We're on a well out here in the country, as most of our neighbors are, so surface water was something I knew I wanted. One easy way to do that, and hey, if you've got kids, it's a bonus, is an above ground pool. In-ground pool would be even better, but these are inexpensive, easy to set up, and what kid doesn't like playing with fire hoses? So every spring, the boys get to play with the hoses while we're testing the system out, making sure everything flows well, and making sure that everybody understands how the system works, what it's capable of, how it feels to drag fire hose through the woods, how it feels to drag fire hose around the house. If you're standing in a specific location, what can we hit with the fire hoses? Can we reach an ember that maybe landed up in a tree and started to catch part of a tree on fire? Those are things we needed to know. And the only way to know is to actually go out and try it. It's going to vary depending on your pump, your nozzles, your hoses. So here was last year, the Oregon Road fire. Many friends came out of this tragedy. Several of them lost their entire homes and all of the things that they had worked hard for their entire lives. We were blessed to be able to help them with fresh water and putting some semblance of their life back together. Here we're delivering some water that they can use to water some horses that they still had on their property until they could get, their wells running again. To other people, it was drinking water that we were dropping off. But a fire just truly devastates an entire area. Here, as you saw in the note, this was a week and a half later after the fire had come through, and there was still hot spots in the ground that were burning, and we were able to douse this one while we were there doing water delivery for drinking water. But it took a little bit to get that out because it was burning down in the ground. But the amount of devastation that happens when a fire comes through a place that's unprepared is truly devastating. When fires happen around here, the locals come out of the woodworks to help, whether it's evacuating animals or shuttling water to others with totes and pumps in the backs of their trucks. Every spring we do brush reduction around our property, picking up the dead limbs and making sure that they're burned in a controlled manner so that we won't have issues later on in the year. This occasionally includes doing a controlled burn to get pine needles and other debris off the floor of the forest on our property. As you can see, most of our trees are limbed up here, getting rid of the ladder fuels. But embers like these here, getting thrown either in front of a fire or around during a fire, are what causes most homes to ignite. In its simplest forms, this is what we're looking for. An IBC tote tossed in the back of a truck, and a pump that you can connect up hoses to and provide water to a spot fire. The pump I recommend and links to some other materials will be in the description below. And I'll have one more video coming up, a little more detailed about my particular fire skid and some of the tools that I carry. And then we'll get back to our regular radio preparedness.